Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 2 of my show. But this is about Episode 1 of Season 1. Now before I start talking about it, I just want to mention, this is going to be History of Power Rangers. Before I start talking about it, I just want to mention that this is going to be even though this is the second video for the Power Rangers, for my second season set of videos, it's going to be the second video, but it's going to be about the first episode, so I just wanted to get that out of the way to clear up a little confusion. And now I think I'm going to show you guys the theme song for it. Now it's the same theme song, but it's with different, it's with different images. So just hold on a second. And, but before I start talking and start showing you guys, I just want to mention one little thing. Once this video is up, just please give this video the real best you guys, can and stuff. I just wanted to get that out of the way, and I'll mention it again when I end the video. So, but for right now, I'll show you the theme song for the second season. It's basically, as I said, it's the same theme song but with different graphics. Okay, just hold on a second. Go from okay, just hold on a second here, guys. Start from here. Yeah. I'm gonna have to play it from Season 2, Episode 3, just because I think this is the episode where the new theme song comes into effect. Come on. As you can see, it's got different images. It's still the same theme song, but it's just got different images in it. I just wanted to do that for you guys. Go Power Rangers. Go Power Rangers. Go Power Rangers. We want the Power Rangers. Go Power Rangers. Go Power Rangers. Go Power Rangers. We want the Power Rangers. Okay, just hold on a second here, guys. Turn it off and bring it all the way to the end. Sorry if you see this in the video, I just wanted to do this to show you guys the theme song for the second season. Now I'll just put it on Season 3, Episode 1, click it and then exit. And then after I do this, I'll just start talking about the actual video, the actual episode. There we go. Turn off console. Okay. Sorry that you guys saw that in the video, guys. I just wanted to show you guys the theme song for the second season. Now, this is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 2 of my show. But this is about Episode 1 of Season 1. And Episode 1 of Season 1 is Part 1 of a 3-part season opener episode called The Mutiny. Now, the reason why it's called The Mutiny is basically because this is when the new antagonist shows up. But I'm gonna begin at the beginning segment of the episode. What happens is, when the first episode of the second season starts, the Rangers are participating in a sort of a charity motor race for the children's hospital and stuff. And basically, what happens is, after that, basically the Mr. Kaplan, the Rangers in their human forms are saying that this is good. I can't remember which one of them that says it, but one of them said that it's having a good time for a good cause. And then basically, I think it's Trini that says that segment. And basically, then Zach says that he can't wait to hit those mountain trails. And then basically, that's when, first what happens is, Mr. Kaplan reminds everyone, Zach said that he can't wait to hit those mountain trails, and then Bulk and Skull show up, and then basically, Bulk said that they better be prepared to eat dirt, because that's all. Excuse me for a second, guys, I'm just going to turn my TV off here, so if you see this in the video, I completely apologize. As I was saying, Bulk said that they better be prepared to eat dirt, because that's all they're gonna catch. That's all they're gonna eat. And then basically Skull makes a joke with Bulk about saying that they'll be eating their dust all the way to the finish line. And basically, Kimberly, I think it's Kimberly that says it's not about winning. And then after that, then they take a look at the map. Like, Billy tells them that they need to take a look at the map to see where to go for the race and stuff. And then basically what happens is, then that's when Rita and her minions are up in the palace, and then they're like, and then she tells Goldar that they're right there for them. And then Goldar says that they're out in the open. And then Scorpina basically says that they'll get them finally. And then that's when this weird kind of lightning happens. And then they're wondering what the commotion is. And then Rita wonders what's going on. And then Goldar said that this can only mean one thing. Lord Zedd, the true Emperor, has returned, basically. Now, as I stated, I'm going to get into more detail with Zedd quickly. I'm just going to get into... I'm not going to do a character bio because I did that in the last video, but basically what happens is, then it goes into a scene where the Rangers are, and then they start doing the motor marathon race segment, and then once the race segment starts, then it goes over to, because what basically happens is after that, Mr. Kaplan is telling them that the only way to reach the finish line is to solve the clues in the map they've been given, and then after he tells them that, he tells them that on their marks, get set, go, and then there's a little bit of a music where it says ride, and then after that, then it goes back to where Rita and her minions are, and then Lord Zedd shows up. Now, I'm just gonna do my Zedd impression here, and tell me what you guys think in the comments section of the video. What do you think of my Zedd impression? I am Lord Zedd, Emperor of all I see. You have failed to complete the mission assigned to you. I will now resume command. Prepare the palace for my return. And as I showed you guys with my impression there, that's what Lord Zedd tells his minions. They failed to complete the mission assigned. He'll now resume command, and he tells them to prepare the palace for his return. And then basically, well, before that actually happened, while they were doing the racing segment, Jason noticed the lightning, like the sound of thunder and stuff, so he told the others to break off. And once he told them to break off with them so that they could talk in private about what he just heard, basically, Billy said that he says it could be thunder, but he doesn't really think so, which is right because it's Zedd. And then basically, what happens after that is that Zach informs the others that they better keep their eyes on their communicators just in case Zordon tries to get into contact with them. And Jason says that he agrees with Zach because something's not right. And then it goes into what I explained with Zedd. He's like, I am Lord Zedd, Emperor. As I said, I did this before, and then with the Zedd thing, I kind of skipped ahead there. Anyway, and then after Rita and her minions see that Lord Zedd has entered the palace, they're wondering where he is, and then basically Goldar says that where he belongs, his chamber of command, and then Rita says that he's gonna ruin everything, and then basically, and then after he arrives in the palace, she said that she has a headache, and then Goldar tells her to deal with it because he's going to meet his emperor. This is basically the segment of the episode where Goldar turns on Rita to join forces with Zedd again, and that'll be the way for the first half of this season. And like I said in my character bio, by first half I just went from this episode up to the 40 segment, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. Anyway, then it goes into where Zordon is in the command center, and he tells Alpha to activate the intergalactic scanner. And if his suspicions are correct, they might have some dire... Actually, what happened... That's gonna happen later. Anyway, then Squat and Babu basically say that they gotta check this guy out, so they decide to basically follow Goldar to where Lord Zedd is gonna show up. And then after that, I never understood this segment, but somehow Squat and Babu are on the on a balance beam overlooking where Lord Zedd is going to show up. And then basically, he shows up in the palace, and then Goldar's welcoming him back. But then when Lord Zedd officially arrives in the palace and this serpent thing comes, which turns into his staff, he's then asking Goldar, he's like, "I am Lord Zedd, identify yourself." And then Goldar says that His Excellency, surely he remembers him, Goldar, his faithful servant. And then basically Zedd realizes that Goldar is the sniveling, spineless, groveling one. And then Goldar makes a groveling pledge to Lord Zedd, where he basically says that he surrenders himself to serve and obey Lord Zedd only, and it's good to have him back. And then he says his spineless, sniveling attitude leads him to believe he will serve him well. And for that, he will restore to him what was once taken away. And by that, he basically means Goldar's wings. Now, the reason why I say that is because for the entirety of the first season and up until this point, except for in the opening segment of the first episode, Goldar had wings, but he didn't have them for the rest of the first season. Now, the reason why I actually had a little bit of a theory about that, why he didn't have wings after the ending of the first episode of the first season. I basically, as I stated, I think it was because he failed Rita once, so she took his wings away as punishment. Anyway, then basically Goldar is telling Zedd that he thanks him and he will not regret this. And then Zedd says this, basically he tells him to see that he doesn't, and then he wonders where the Earthlings are that the incompetent Rita Repulsa was unable to defeat. So he uses his visor-like eyes to make a projection beam to look down on Earth, and then Rita shows up in the palace, and then she's saying, "Oh, great and powerful Lord Zedd, what a pleasant surprise." And then when she sees Goldar, she called him a traitor. And then basically, then Rita begs Lord Zedd to give her another chance. She won't fail him again. And then basically Zedd gets mad with Rita, and he's like, "Quiet! Those Power Rangers are nothing but mere children. You were defeated by infants. Quiet! Those Power Rangers were nothing but mere children. You were defeated by infants." And then he said that she dares call herself an Empress of Evil. She's not fit to destroy a cockroach. And then Goldar says that he has always said that. And then basically Rita starts getting a little bit of a headache. And then Zedd says that Rita's made him very angry. And then that's when the alarm in the command center goes off, and then Zordon tells Alpha to activate the intergalactic scanner, and then Alpha says that he will right away. And then Zordon says that if his suspicions are correct, they might have some very dire circumstances to deal with. And he tells And he tells Alpha to contact the Power Rangers at once, and then Alpha says right away, so he contacts Jason on his communicator, but by the time he contacts him, basically what happens is, they're right in the middle of the motor marathon, so basically when Jason's communicator beeps, he tells Alpha to hold on, because he's got to round up the others, and then once he gets the others together, they contact Zordon contacts them on the communicator, and he tells them to teleport to the command center. And then basically after they teleport, Zordon tells them that his worst fears have been realized. Lord Zedd has returned. And then basically Billy wonders who Lord Zedd is, and then Zordon tells the Rangers that he's Rita and her minions' Lord and Master, basically. And then basically, Kimberly wonders there's someone even worse than Rita. And then, as I explained about that in my character bio video on Lord Zedd as well. Anyway, and then basically Zordon says that he's afraid so, and then he explains to them what I explained in my character bio about eons ago. Like, Lord Zedd has been ruling over darker places within another galaxy, and eons ago he left Rita and her minions in charge of the palace to carry out his orders. And since Rita has failed to do so, then Trini basically says that that since Rita is, like, she finishes Zordon's sentence about him coming back to finish the job, and then basically they don't know if they can beat him. And then basically what happens is Zedd is up in the palace, and then he's thinking to himself that poor old Zordon is still around, eh? Like, poor old Zordon is still around, eh? Little does he realize his pitiful teenage do-gooders are no match for me. And then basically Goldar makes the suggestion about sending some putties down to attack the Rangers because they're in the open and they'll be easy prey. And then Zedd laughs and he says that he tells Goldar that his version of the putties is as useless to him as he is. By him he means Goldar and stuff. And he tells Goldar that he's got his own version of the putties, which is the Z putties, like I explained. Now the Z putties is what I call them because of the Z on their chest. And then basically what happens is he tells Goldar to observe, and basically he says to then he decides to energize them using his staff, and then basically he sends those putties down to Earth. But by the time they show up on Earth, Bulk and Skull had already realized that the four-wheelers, which is Jason's group, they realized that their bikes are not there, and Skull wonders what happened to them, and then Bulk says that who cares, because they have their bikes, so they can use them to finish the race. And then basically what happens is that's when the Z putties show up. And then basically what happens is after that the alarm in the command center goes off, and then after that basically what happens is once they take a look at the viewing globe, Kimberly wonders that those aren't, she tells Zordon that those don't look like your normal everyday batch of putties. And then Zordon explains to the Rangers that they are Lord Zedd's new army of putties, and he tells them that they'll be significantly harder to defeat, which is kind of true. and then Trini said that she bets the attack that's happening to Bulk and Skull was meant for them, so they decide to go to the location where Bulk and Skull are to deal with the Z putties. And then when the Power Rangers show up, Bulk and Skull basically they see the Power Rangers, and then they say that they love them, and after watching a little bit of a montage with them fighting the putties and stuff, and during that, Bulk said that he guesses those gray guys are the reason why Jason and those other guys took off, and Skull said that he agrees with them. He said they chickened out, which technically is, which isn't really true because they're the Rangers, but they don't know they're the Rangers at first, so, anyway, while they're fighting, the putties, that's when, Jason hits one of them, and they realize that, and, oh, by the way, I just want to mention something very quickly here. During this segment of the battle, Tommy's Green Ranger powers will give out, and then, basically after that, that's when Jason realizes about the Z on the putty's chest. And then he tells the other Rangers about it to aim directly for the Z. And then after those putties are gone, they ask Bulk and Skull on the hill if they're okay. And then they say yes. And then they teleport back to the command center. And then Bulk said that those were the Power Rangers. And then Skull said that no one's going to believe them when they tell them that. But then Bulk tells Skull that they'll prove it. And Skull wonders how, and then Bulk tells Skull that they're real people. If they can see them, they can touch them, they're gonna find out who the Power Rangers really are. And then Skull agrees with Bulk. He says right, but he wonders how they're going to do it. And then basically what happens is after that, well, actually, before I'm just going to backtrack here 1 second. Before Zedd had sent down his putties, he got rid of Rita, and by got rid of her, he used his staff to shrink her to tiny size and place her inside the dumpster that she was imprisoned in for the first episode of the first season, and basically they toss her to the wind, and basically that's and then that's where Zedd decides to send down his putties. And then, as I stated, with Bulk and Skull, the Rangers morph to deal with the Z putties, and then after they do that segment, they check and see if Bulk and Skull is okay, if they're okay, and then they go back to the command center. And then, as I said before, that's when Bulk and Skull come up with the idea to find out who the Rangers really are. And then the Rangers are back in their, well, they're still in their Ranger forms, but their helmet portion of their Ranger forms are off. And then basically, Jason is telling Zordon that he was right. Those new putties are incredibly strong. And then Tommy said that it's worse than that. His powers failed him if it wasn't for Jason. And then then Zordon tells the Rangers that they were lucky to find the new putty's weakness so quickly, because apparently the Z on their chest is the source of their power. And then Trini says that, I can't remember, it might be Trini or Kimberly that said that one of them, they say that they bet that Lord Zedd didn't count on them finding his putty's weakness so quickly. And then basically what happens is after that, Kimberly wonders what I think it was Trini that said that with the finding the putty's weakness so quickly. And basically after that, Kimberly says that she wonders what Zedd's got in store for them next. And then basically what happens is, after that, Zedd tells his minions that there will be no more of Rita's inferior monsters. He will create one of his own to be reckoned with. So he uses his staff to transform a fish out of the Rampoon River into, which is a piranha, which is ironically called Pihrantis Head. And then after Zordon explains about that, the Rangers go to deal with the Pihrantis Head monster, and then the Pihrantis Head monster basically tells the Rangers to give it up. They'll never defeat Lord Zedd. And then Jason says that remains to be seen. And then they call on their swords, but what basically happens is, after that, the Pihrantis Head monster tells the Rangers that he's afraid that this time they're going to be left out in the cold, so he uses his flute to freeze the Zords. And then after that, Jason realizes that he said that, oh man, the Pihrantis Head is, like, he's frozen the Zords, and he said that they're history, and that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys probably sometime either tomorrow or next week for the next video, or sometime tomorrow or later this week for the next video. So until then, guys, like I always, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and like I always tell, and I'll see you guys next time, and like I always tell you with this series, may the power protect you always.